Back Porch. Today we're making sausage. I don't mean we're cooking sausage, I mean we're making sausage. Why would you make sausage when it is so easy to buy and reasonably priced? Well, we're making sausage for one thing because we can season it the way we want it. If you make your sausage, you can vary it, you can put different things. The other reason we're making sausage is because I have some pastured pork, which is pork that we actually prefer, and that was raised locally and that we buy when we can. So I want to make some sausage out of it so that I have organically grown sausage seasoned with my herbs and to our taste. So let's start making sausage. Just put it in here. So making sausage is a two-step process. We're going to cut it up and season it, and then we're going to refrigerate it anywhere from a couple hours to overnight. And we refrigerate it for a lot of reasons, a couple of reasons particularly. It goes through the grinder better cold, especially if you have fat on it. And you want the fat on sausage. This is not like when I was canning beef for you the other day, where we trimmed off as much of the fat as we can. We might actually add some fat to this if it's not enough. And if you'll remember, if you did watch the canning beef video, I said that fat wouldn't go to waste. I saved it. It's in the freezer. And according to whether or not this particular pork is fat enough, I will put some of that fat into the mix and grind it up with the sausage. And this is not very fat, so I may indeed have to add some. And it doesn't matter that it's beef fat. If you happen to want to make sausage out of ground venison, ground deer meat, you are almost certainly going to have to add fat. So if that's something that you want to do, you want to be saving fat anytime you trim it off and put it in the freezer. It'll last a long, long time. Excuse my dogs. They live here and they want to be known. So I do this in layers, and I have figured it out that a layer here, this is just a regular baking pan, I'm sure you've got one close to the same size, that a layer is about 2 pounds. And what I have here is about a 5-pound roast. I did weigh it. And almost everything I tell you about this it's about. This is not an exact science, at least it isn't the way I do it. And I played with this spice mixture several times before we got the one we wanted, which doesn't taste exactly like grocery store sausage. But we like it, and you can substitute different things, and I'll talk to you about the possible substitutions. Okay, I have one layer here. The way I season it is about a half a teaspoon to a teaspoonful of salt. Everything is about. It's approximate. That's a half a teaspoon, maybe a little bit more. You want a little bit on every piece. About a teaspoonful of red pepper flakes. And of course, if you like it really hot, you can add more. Now I have cumin here. I don't actually measure it, but you want about a 1/4 teaspoonful. Cumin can be overpowering, so I just sprinkle a little on. And this is maple syrup. And not a whole lot, but just a sprinkle on each layer. And that gives a little maple flavor to it after it sits. This particular roast is really easy to cut, and it's really nice pork. It doesn't have a bone in it. So let's talk about seasoning. If you like this sort of standard flavor of sausage, you can buy from many different companies on the internet. I know you can get it on Amazon, and other people may know different ones, but you can Google a sausage seasoning mix. You can find some. Oh, I forgot the most important thing. I'm sorry. Hold on. Sage. This is my dried sage that we grew in the backyard, and this is about a handful. Now I'm gonna rub this, and it's gonna be between 2 and 3 tablespoons full when you rub it. If you, whoops, it's going in places. If you use ground sage, you're gonna use less than that. Probably about half. But this is fresh dried, grown fresh, dried, and then rubbed. And it doesn't, it's a much larger volume per weight. So if you have sage that you bought from the grocery store, probably you want a little bit less. Unless you're like us, we love sage. That's one of the reasons we make our own sausage. We like it like more sage. Some people add fennel seeds. That's actually pretty common. And some people add parsley. Some people add garlic. I'm gonna mention, if you're not looking for an Italian tasting sausage, most sausage doesn't actually, like breakfast sausage, doesn't actually have garlic in it. It doesn't have much, and it gets overpowering if you're not careful. But if you're making an Italian sausage, you might look up a recipe for that. We don't, that's not what we make, and it would have garlic in it. Some people put a little oregano, some people put a little thyme. It's really up to you. That's one of the wonderful things about making your own sausage, is you can find the spice profile that suits you. And what we wanted when we started making our own sausage was to recreate the flavor of the sausage that our grandmothers made, which was salt, red pepper, and sage. And we were able to do that. So you may want to do a little research after you have tried this, and I recommend you try it once, and come up with a spice profile that suits you. And most people, I think, do use the packaged mixes. So when I get this layer spiced, I'll come back. Some of this tendon and gristle tends to get caught. So if you run across that, and this is really the first I've run across in this, you want to cut it away. It'll cause you trouble in your grinding process. Okay, we'll do one more seasoning. A little over a half a teaspoon of salt. About a teaspoon of red pepper flakes. And a teaspoonful, that'll be 3 teaspoons full in this. That will give you a little bite. A little drizzle of maple syrup. And a handful of rubbed sage. And I'm not really rubbing it to a fine texture, because this is going through a grinder, and it'll grind it and mix it in. Okay, we'll come back when I've finished, and we'll put this in the refrigerator to grind in a few hours. Probably grind it before I go to bed, and we'll show you the rest of the process. Okay, I've got all the spices in here. I had just a little bit of extra sage, so I just put it in here because we love sage. And this now goes in the fridge for at least 2 hours, and you can leave it till the next morning if you want to. We'll probably grind this up tonight late, and I'll show you the process. Refrigerator. Okay, it's been a couple hours, and I'm going to go ahead and grind this up. What I have here is a Sportsman meat grinder. We got it. It's not very expensive. You can also get an attachment for your KitchenAid. There are several different kinds of grinders you can get. But this one has worked really well for us. So all that's left to do to this meat is to grind it. If you want to stuff sausage into casings, you can do that. It comes with an attachment to do it, but we really prefer it bulk. If you're making Italian sausage or something like that, you may want to put it in casings. So here we go. We just turn it on and start feeding. Well, there you have it. I had about 4.5 pounds of the Boston butt, and I put about a ½ pound fat that was left from the canning beef that we did the other day. The only thing left to do is to kind of mix it. And so this gives us about 5 pounds of sausage. At this point, if you didn't use the sage, or if you don't mind the taste of sage, you can can this. To can it, you either form it in patties or cook it loose, and then add either water or broth, just like we did the beef, except with ground beef, ground meat, you must cook it first. And no, you can't do it dry, and you'll want to drain the fat off. If you want to freeze it, you can either make it into patties and freeze the patties, or you can freeze it, break it up into small containers, ½ pound or so, and freeze it. It'll stay good for a couple of days in the fridge, but of course we're not going to eat this much in a couple of days. I do recommend that you cover it and let it sit overnight in the fridge to let the flavors meld and come together. And that's what I was doing here with my hands, in case there are any spots where the spices didn't get evenly distributed, or where the fat didn't get evenly distributed. Now, when I started doing this, I asked my mother, what you put in it? What do you put in it? How do I make it taste like Grandma's did? And she said, I don't know, put in it what you like and then cook a piece and see how you like it. and if you want to add something else, add it. So that's sort of how we came to this process. I'm going to cover this. I'm going to put it back in the fridge in the morning or about 12 hours later, whenever you do it. Take it out, either make your patties. If you want to do your sausage in casings, do it now. And you grind it first, and then you hook up the casing, and I don't have the little part here, but it's a little cone, and then you grind it, you send it through again. You don't put the casing on until after you've done this. But I hope you enjoy this. We really enjoy this sausage. It's not a whole lot of mess. It's not a whole lot of trouble. It probably works out to cheaper than grocery store, and you get to season it and flavor it the way you like it. And if you're on a farm, if you buy pork in bulk, this is a great way to save some of it. The fresh hams are not all that great cooked. They're whole, but they're very good in sausage. So if you're getting a pork, if you're raising pork, if you just want to buy it and make your own, this is a great way to go. Thank you for joining us on Debbie's Back Porch, and we'll see you soon.